there, but this whole bit's getting cut off anyway, so I don't care. Um, yeah, today we're talking about the Florida Gators football recruiting class, women's basketball, and how Rae Finley needs to be hired full time as a permanent head coach. And then we'll wrap up a little bit of Q&A from the live chat. If there's anything, if y'all hate me, then appreciate it. Only here on Locked On Gators. And obviously now I get to skip that little bit. So hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you get your podcasts. Happy Monday. I am Brandon Olson. Twitter's at WNS_Brandon. Written work with Whole Nine Sports. That is WHOLENINE Sports. And getting right into it, we're going to take a look at this Florida Gators recruiting class. I mean, like this recruiting class, it's currently number 16 in the nation, which is pretty good. Like that, like with Dan Mullen, we had number 12 last year in the nation. So having number 16 with Billy Napier is not a bad thing at all, because Billy Napier is a group of 5 coach that's coming over to the SEC to be the new head coach at a major university. And he was named head coach late November, early December. And it's like, well, he hasn't had a ton of time to build this recruiting class. He had pretty much 3 months to do it, or 2 months to do it. So, I mean, you got to take what you can get. It's a strong class because it's a transitional class. This was not expected to be a great Florida Gators class. This was a class that, by the way, it wasn't like 70 something. It was in the 30s when he took over, maybe 40s when he took over. I think the 70s thing is just a false narrative that people just ran with. But yeah, I mean, this is a good recruiting class still. Like Billy Napier, he addressed positions of need that he wanted to. Like I spoke about just the other day, where I was like, hey, there's not a lot of tight end talent on the team. There's 4 tight ends. So even if they were all very talented, there's not a lot of tight end talent because they ain't playing. But now he's brought in multiple tight end recruits and different types of recruits. Also, you've got Hayden Hanson's more that hand in the dirt blocking, that Y tight end. Then he also brought in Arliss Boardingham, who's more that F tight end that's going to be moving around the formation, doing a whole bunch of different things for this offense. And he's proven that he could be a vertical threat to an offense, or at least he proved that in high school. We'll see how he can do it in college, but it's better than nothing right now. And he obviously took time to address the offensive line, because I'm not even talking about just high school recruits. Transfer class also, he brought in Osiris Torrance. He brought in from Louisiana with him. He brought in Cameron Waits from Louisiana with him. He brought in offensive line talent where, I mean, I know Tony Livingston is like a tight end offensive lineman, but he's tight end is what he's expected to play right now. Jalen Farmer came in, and Jalen Farmer was someone who towards the end, or towards National Signing Day, a lot of people were trying to get, and he stuck true to the University of Florida. David Connor's another one. Christian Williams is another guy, and I think that was all the offensive linemen that got brought in. But it's like, well, this is a strong class for a guy who, Billy Napier, knows how to develop an offensive line. We know that he knows how to develop an offensive line. He has a strong run game, and the scheme is solid. He brought in Rob Sale to be the offensive coordinator. Rob Sale was the offensive coordinator at Louisiana, and then went to the New York Giants to be the offensive line coach, which, granted, ultimately didn't work out in the long run, but I don't think that was due to Rob Sale's fault. That was due to the higher-ups, the Joe Judge's fault. And as a Giants fan, I can say that. That was just a poor team overall, but the offensive line did improve, which made me be like, well, I'm pretty happy to get Rob Sale, because like I said, the O-line improved and he was the offensive line coach. So I'm fine with dealing with them. Like I have no issue with that. And then looking at quarterbacks, he brought in Max Brown as a high school commit. He brought in Jack Miller III as a transfer from Ohio State that could come in and challenge for the starting spot. This is a strong recruiting class. Is it a top 10 class? No, it's not top 15. It's number 16. That's very close to top 15, but we're going to be nitpicky here because I've said it before, but the University of Florida ain't no such thing as average here. This is an elite university by all standards and all metrics. So this is not something to just be like, whatever with. But looking at the class overall, you got to consider, this was a uh, a rough time to recruit for Billy Napier because he inherited a class that already was not super strong. And then he had to come in and convince people that he can come from the group of five to the power five, build a strong coaching staff, and have a strong foundation. And I think in his hire, he did that alone. Because in his hire, he came here because he said, I think this is the perfect situation. He got money for his assistants. Florida now has a top 5 assistant coach salary pool. He got an extra, I believe it was an extra $1.5 million for just a support staff and off-field staff. So he's built a damn good coaching staff and a damn good support staff where they even do now the nutrition athlete of the week on the football team, or they had 3 this week. I believe it was Osiris, Anthony Richardson, and Lorenzo Lingard, if I'm not mistaken, were the nutrition athletes of the week for this university. And it's like, he's built a special thing here. This isn't I think it's a great recruiting class. When you consider that it's a transitional class, like transitional classes historically are bad. They're not usually top 20. And Billy Napier gets to rub in that he came into the University of Florida in his first year and solidified himself as the best recruiter in the state, at least, because, well, he's ahead of Miami. He's ahead of Florida State. He's obviously ahead of like UCF. So he's done his damn job. Like he's done his thing above Miami, depending on where you look, I guess. I'm pretty sure 24/7 we're still behind them, but I believe on 3 we're ahead of them, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a little bit of a toss up there. But he did his thing, and he came in with a tumultuous time. And this for Florida football, there hasn't been a better time to be transitioning with how the rest of this state is looking. Just in their stability wise in their football programs. Anybody else make money this weekend? I know I did. I know yesterday I kind of did. I barely broke even because I bet that Steph Curry would, what was it? It was 310 odds for 30 points in the game against the Knicks. And I was like, he always violates the Knicks, so he'll do it. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action. Obviously, Florida's done Florida things to me. Women's basketball, you've been phenomenal. BetOnline.net even covers award shows, TV shows, and reality TV with real-time updated odds and props on almost 3 years if you've never been here before. Anything you can imagine. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's 100% free to sign up. Head to the website or use your mobile device, because that's how I like to bet. BetOnline.net is where the game starts. Now we're going to talk about the Florida Gators women's basketball team. They play again Monday night versus the Auburn Tigers. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is the same thing I talked about the other day when I covered this game. Rae Finley, man. Rae Finley. Rick, I don't know if you were here for the beginning, but I'm third segment is all Q&A, so I will get to you. But Rae Finley needs to be hired as the full-time women's basketball, like the permanent women's basketball coach. Just drop the interim. Like, she has been so phenomenal. Like, even going into this game against Mississippi State on last night. Yeah, last night. I was like, I don't think this game looks great for Florida. Just on pay, like tail of the tape wise, I don't think it looks great for Florida. And they won by 9. It was like, well, maybe they both different. But I mentioned Kim Mulkey yesterday, also the LSU women's basketball coach, and I actually got a text about her in a press conference from yesterday where Kim Mulkey said she is gonna poach Rae Finley. Rick, I'll get to it. I will. I got you. I got plans coming up. But Kim Mulkey said that she would like to poach Rae Finley as an assistant coach if the University of Florida does not hire her soon. I got texted that from someone I know that covers LSU, Dilly Sanders on Twitter. we've been talking a lot about it because Kim Mulkey likes Rae Finley, and Kim Mulkey is a damn good women's basketball coach. So, and I also don't get why Florida hasn't gotten to like Scott Strickland, like chop chop, buddy. Like this is you have a phenomenal women's basketball coach that's running your program right now, and she's an interim, but she's so damn good. Just give her the job. Like she's built this team, and she's got this team playing better than I expected at any point. Like I have no problem saying that. Where there's, you got Kiki Smith getting a near triple double every game. You got Zippy Broughton going off for 20 kind of consistently. You got Jordan Merritt has really slowed down since the start of the year. Nina Rickards I don't want to say Nina Rickards is heated up, but she started off the year very poorly, and she's gotten better. I don't want to say she's like on fire right now because she's simply not. But she's improved significantly since the start of the year. And this is just a team where they just play well. Alberto Rendal comes out of nowhere and shoots 5 for 6 from 3 in the game. Manuel Oliveira comes in and plays almost half an hour and has 13 points and is doing her thing. Rebounding is insane to me because it's always the guards for Florida that lead rebounding wise. And it's like, that's I don't even know how to like that. My brain cannot comprehend that because I'm more of when I look at basketball, I'm more like traditionally like the centers and the power forwards. They do the boxing out, they do the dirty work. But here it's our guards. Kiki Smith had 9 rebounds. Zippy Broughton had 7. Nina Rickards had 5. And that led our team. And then you look after that, and it's like Floor Tunders did her thing. She had 5 boards when she played. But it's wild to me just how cohesive of a unit this team has been. Where I didn't think that would be a thing where they would just step in immediately, or not even immediately, but that they would step in and just grow significantly better as the year went on. Like I thought they'd improve a little bit, but given everything that this team has been through, and given everything that this team has overcome, I guess I did not think that we would see a team grow as quickly as we've seen this team grow. Where they're number 19 in the nation right now. And even then, I'm like, that's disrespectful as hell. Like that, like 19 is bad when you're looking at this team because they have been so consistently good. I realize that the sun is like coming, but they have been so consistently good and they have been developing so consistently that it's like, I don't know how you can look at this Florida Gators women's basketball team and say, yeah, they're number 19 in the nation. Like they have taken every challenge in front of them except the number 1 team in the country in South Carolina. They've taken every team and every challenge and they've won, and most games they've won handedly. So I don't know how you could look at this team and it's like, yeah, they're 19. Like, no, this is a top 10 women's basketball team in the nation right now. Like there is no doubt about that in my mind. Where you look at Tennessee, Florida beat the crap out of them. You look at, South Carolina, they lost by 12, but that's not that bad when you consider how bad South Carolina beats people. But you look at Kentucky. Florida beat the crap out of Kentucky. Florida beat Kentucky by, what was it, 25? Texas A&M, Florida won. It was like less. It was like around 10-point win. It was still a big win. Auburn win. Alabama, Florida won. It's like all these schools. LSU, Florida beat, which is how Kim Mulkey is like, damn, Rae Finley is a damn good women's basketball coach because of exactly that. I don't know what that message in the chat is. So I'm gonna remove that one. But yeah, like this is a damn good women's basketball team, and it's a damn good women's basketball coach in Rae Finley that is running the program for Florida. And I think that you got to hand her respect because, like I said, last night, like was a game where I was like, hey, on paper, this ain't a great game for Florida. But Florida came up and won 73-64. It's a pretty solid win away on the road. And this team has their players that they struggle. Kiki Smith, she's got her points, her rebounds, her assists, but like her shooting percentages have not been great this season. Nina Rickards has really struggled at times this season. But look, you look at last night and she had the points, she had the assists, but she turned the ball over 5 times too, where it's like, to a certain point, you get it, but it's also like Rae Finley. She's had this team overcome everything, including like Lavender Briggs leaving. Like I don't think that you can you can really overlook her. And it's honestly kind of stupid that she hasn't been given the head coaching title permanently to this point. I'm going to get to the Q&A in just a second. But first, it's the new year. So that means New Year's resolution time. If yours is about getting fit, eating healthier, or you just want to try something new, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. I'm horrible at keeping my New Year's resolution. We know that. I'm not even going to pretend that I have one anymore because I'm just like, I'll work my way around it. I'm like, I'll figure out a loophole for it. Every year, it's the sweet tooth that gets me. I got iced tea right here. So it's the sweet tooth every year. With Built Bar, at least, though, it's already coated in 100% chocolate. Most bars have just 130 calories, just 4 net carbs, which is the only thing that I really care about, along with 17 grams of protein. Throw out the hidden stashes, the Reese's in the desk drawer, the Kit Kat in the cupboard. Get Built Bar so you don't have to sneak around. Built Bar is always coming out with new limited time flavors, so you'll never get bored. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your next order. That is locked, LOCKED 15 to get 15% off of your next order at Built or BuiltBar.com. I could do it, Elvin. If you want, I could hit you with it again if you really want to hear it. But that was earlier in the stream. I could do it again if you want. But Rick, you said, can you please enlighten us to what's going on with the QB Jones and what are your players doing as far as practices and classes? Well, when you look at QB Jones, which is obviously Emory Jones at this point, he's here. He's in Gainesville. He's doing his thing where I know he said that he would go through the bowl game and he would transfer out following that, and that hasn't happened to this point. I know a lot of people think that he still will transfer. Personally, I think that he'll transfer if he does not win the starting job in the spring ball. I think Emory wants to be a starting quarterback. I don't know why he wants to be a starting quarterback for the University of Florida. If we're being honest, I've been very open that I think that the way the fan base treated him and the way the fan base treated his family was just, if we're being honest, despicable. Like him being like the Alabama game, him getting booed, 90,000 fans booing him. Obviously, it wasn't all 90,000, but it was a stadium of 90,000 people, and the boos were raucous for him as if it were an away game. And I don't care if it's like, oh, we weren't booing him, we were booing Dan Mullen for putting him back in. No, you weren't. You booed the quarterback as he came onto the field after he threw a pick. And so it's Emory's still here. I think he wants to compete for the starting spot, but I also think that should he not win the starting spot, he's out. I don't care if it matters if he's number 2, if he's number 3, if he's number 6. I don't. I think if he doesn't win that starting job, he's transferring out. Because we've spoken about, like, kind of lightheartedly about him maybe changing positions, but I mean, when Emory said that he was transferring from Florida after the bowl game, he said that he wanted to go to a spot that would develop him to play quarterback at the next level. And if he doesn't win a starting spot, he's not going to change positions. Like, he very clearly wants to play a starting quarterback in college and in the NFL. So I think Emory Jones for now is still here. I don't know how long he says. Like I said, I think he stays till spring ball, or stays through spring ball. And if he doesn't win that starting quarterback spot, I think it's gone. And that sucks because, like, I've very openly said, like, I love Emory. Like, not even from a talent perspective, just as a kid, he seems like a really awesome guy. Like he's taken everything in stride. And it's like, I also don't get why a lot of the fan base still wants to like vocally like boo him and boo his family and do whatever. And it's like, I don't get why the fan base does that, because if you treat your players like that, why would recruits want to come play for you? Like, why would recruits want to be like, if I have a bad game, I'm going to get booed by the entire fan base? That's what I want. Like, so a lot of times I think, like, Florida fans, they complain a lot about recruiting and wanting more and wanting better. But at the same time, it's like, you're probably part of the reason that we don't get these recruits. Is like, that's a thing that people consider, like the leash that you have. And Emory is someone who, he didn't have, it was week 3 and he was getting booed. And he didn't play poorly in weeks 1 and 2, but it was week 3 and he was getting booed for the Alabama game. And it's like that was his first games starting where I think that there was a very short leash for him with the fan base, with the coaching staff. There was a very long leash. And like I've said, like I know that the coaching staff was committed to Emory. The players reportedly wanted Anthony Richardson before the season to start, but that didn't happen as much as we like. And yeah, Rick, I don't think he'll start, which sucks because, like I said, not that it sucks that he won't start because I want to win games, but it sucks that Emory Jones won't be a Florida Gator much longer because I think he's a tremendous character athlete for this team. And so I really like what he brought to the table as a player and just as a person. Like as a player, I still think he has a role in the offense. I think he could. I just don't think he has a role as a quarterback, which is what he wants to play. So I think it's just a situation where overall, like Florida's better off if he leaves. Emory is better off if he leaves. Like it's just one of those situations where it's a clean break. I think that, and yeah, like you just said, Rick, like he's not a quitter. That's what I meant. Like that's what I've been saying. Like Emory's not gonna back down from a challenge. Like he's not. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, like he's not gonna win the starting job. He should just leave. It's like that's not how things work. Like I've been in a position battle before. You don't just leave during the battle. Like no, like I've been in a position battle before where people are like, hey man, like I ain't winning it, and I pat myself on the back. I got my position battle. Players now getting ready for the season. You know, it's spring workouts, Rick. So it's spring workouts. It's them getting ready for the season. If you haven't listened to like the Gators collective spaces on Twitter, they do a phenomenal job of like getting the day to day on what these players are doing. I know that the other day they had, who were the three in there? It was Trey Dean, Keon Zipperer, and Justin Shorter were the three Gators that were in the Gators collective Twitter spaces. And they were saying that, you know, these workouts now are much more cohesive. Like they do these things much more as a unit than they did under Dan Mullen or under the previous coaching staff, without throwing anyone under the bus, is what they said. Where they do things as a unit now, stretches are as a unit, lifts are as a unit, everything is as a unit. So it's better to build as a team rather than just an individual that wants to do these workouts, wants to get these things done. So teams as players, classes starting. They got their workouts now more than anything. I know that they're starting like phase 2 identity with Billy Napier, so they're working on that. But players are getting ready for the season. And, you know, the first week or two of practice, I wouldn't put too much stock into. I don't, because a lot of these guys haven't played since the end of the season. And so I'm not going to put a lot of stock in something that they haven't done in a month or two. But I mean, players getting ready to play, players getting ready to compete. Emory's getting ready to compete for that starting spot. We'll see if he gets it, which I highly doubt. But again, if he does, I'll be happy with it. I don't care. I'm at the point where I know players think a certain thing of Emory Jones, or I know fans think a certain thing of Emory Jones, but I'm going to trust this head coach. The last head coach, we probably shouldn't have trusted, but this head coach, I'm going to trust with just whatever decision he makes will be the best decision to make for this team and for this offense and for the success of this program long term. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We all available wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back Monday to talk more Florida Gators. For Locked On Gators, I am Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports. That is WHOLENINE Sports. And I will see you all Monday. Thank you all for tuning in.